Hi, for those of you that know the CHERI Alliance, Mike would have liked to give this presentation, but he couldn't make it, so he asked me to step in and take this presentation. So I want to talk to you about the CHERI Alliance. We're really excited that this is launched. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Just as an introduction, as I said, as Allison said, I'm from low risk. I'm Marno from the Maas, and I've been at low risk for 2.5 years now. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Memory safety. So what is this memory safety problem? How big is it actually? What is this CHERI technology and how does it resolve that? And then I'll get into the CHERI Alliance. Okay, memory safety. So most of you will know what memory safety problems are, like buffer overflows. This slide kind of shows you the problem. So we can see on the left-hand side there's a graph of CVE, so we can see that that's increasing over the years. And then maybe a little bit more context is the graph on the right here is how much estimated cost of cybercrime worldwide there is. And so you can see that 2024, we're in 2025 right now, so those 2025 to 2027 are estimated values. But as you can see, it kind of goes up into the 20 trillion US dollar area. And just to give you a little bit of context, if you think about world economies, the second largest economy in the world is China, and it's about 20 trillion US dollars. So this is the scale that we're talking about. This is a huge problem, economically speaking. So how do we tackle these software vulnerabilities in general? So let's break down software vulnerabilities, and I talked a little bit about memory safety already. So how big is the memory safety problem compared to all the software vulnerabilities? So if you look at this graph, you can see that the proportion of memory safety vulnerabilities compared to all software vulnerabilities has been pretty constant over the last few decades. So it's about 70%. So that's a pretty high proportion. So if we can remove all of these somehow, and that's what we're hoping that CHERI will do, that's a huge potential, right? So 70% of that $20 trillion can potentially be saved. So there are a couple of possible solutions. We can rewrite the world in Rust or .NET. These are really cool languages that give you lots of memory safety guarantees, and they're really good options if you're writing new code. It's a bit of a question whether it's worth investing the money to rewrite all the trillions of lines of C and C++ code in these languages. That seems pretty infeasible. The other thing that we'll say is memory languages like Rust and .NET at the moment don't really have a good solution yet for fine-grained compartmentalization. Then we have coarse-grained techniques like stack canaries. So this is more of a statistical way of stopping your programs from having stack overflows, etc. And these are very good as debugging tools, but because they're statistical, they don't actually deterministically stop any attack. And if you're under active attack, statistically usually isn't good enough. So there's usually pretty reliable hacking techniques to go around this. And so what we're proposing is to use fine-grained techniques like CHERI, where you can actually have some kind of guarantee that whenever you're doing a memory access, you cannot go outside of your bounds or do something with it that you're not supposed to. And so we believe that this is the best option for us, with the caveat that we do need to ship new hardware for this. So how are we going to do this? Why do we need to create this CHERI Alliance to make this happen? So first of all, what's CHERI? As I already said, this is a way for the hardware to enforce permissions and bounds on your memory accesses, and essentially how it does this is by, instead of using pointers to access memory, you now use capabilities which have this extra piece of memory, extra piece of metadata. And so this can enhance any instruction set. So the benefits of this is that we can have fine-grained memory protection, And as I mentioned before, it can also do things like scalable compartmentalization. It's an architectural solution, so it works with existing software. We don't actually have to change any of the software, rewrite it in any other way. And it can extend conventional hardware ISAs. So why am I talking about this in the UK? Why am I here at an Open UK conference? Well, CHERI has had a big impact from the UK. So it was initially funded by DARPA, but the work was very much done by the University of Cambridge and SRI, at least the initial work. Now there's many partners that are working on this, and it's matured over 14 years of development and supported by UK funding bodies like UKRI and the National Cybersecurity Centre. Okay, so as I said before, we need this new hardware, right? So how are we going to get there? So we believe that kind of the research side of things, obviously there's always more research to be able to do, but the kind of initial research that we need to say like, okay, this technology is actually proven, that's done, right? And as part of that research, there's been a lot of work on creating software and tools and processor IP in the open. So some of that work has already been done. There's also been some work on standardization, so we're really happy about that, and we really want to push those 4 areas initially forward as we're going forward. But then those 4 things feed into the rest of this flow chart. So we need to get this technology into chips, into modules that can be integrated into products, and then hopefully into users' hands. That would be very exciting. So that's what the CHERI Alliance is for. CHERI Alliance. So the CHERI Alliance has 3 roles. So we want to be able to do technical alignment, promotion, and community support. And we really believe that it's much nicer to do this as an alliance rather than all the individual companies doing it by themselves. So technical alignment, we want to make sure that our instruction set architectures are interoperable. We want to make sure that there's compliance and best practices. For promotional, we have media, regulation, and technical and marketing information. It's nice to be able to kind of have one voice for those kind of things. And community support, we want to be able to do education, collaboration, and open source software support. So I said it already, we created CHERI Alliance to kind of make sure that we collaborate as a whole. We want to emphasize that this technology is ISA agnostic, so it's already been ported to multiple ISAs, including ARM, MIPS, and RISC-V. Sorry, instruction set architecture. So this is essentially the instructions that your CPUs run. There's also a draft proposal for x86, and there's no reason why this cannot be ported to any other ISA or in the future or current. As I said, not just one company. We need a broad industry approach and a community, and hopefully being financed by the industry means that actually as a whole, CHERI Alliance will be a cost-saving thing because you can kind of pool all your resources together. And we also have financial support by the Department for Science, Innovation, and Technology. And then you can see a little bit of a timeline. So February 2024, we started the Alliance, and then we actually had a very exciting launch in November 2024 with the full launch. And that launch was with these founding members. So with the headline act here being Google, we're really happy with their support. And also with the people that I already mentioned before, the initial kind of investigator, University of Cambridge and SRI. And low risk, the people that I work for are on here as well. But we're grateful for all these founding members, and we really believe that we're stronger together. So a little bit more, CHERI in the UK. So this was largely developed by the University of Cambridge. We have strong local expertise. This is why we set up a CIC in the UK. And we have a lot of support from the UK funding as well. So benefits, reasons to join the CHERI Alliance, if they weren't clear already. We hope to demonstrate security and leadership. We want to network and collaborate in that sense. Accelerate the adoption of CHERI, really push that CHERI technology through that flow chart I showed you, get it into users' hands. Share promotional costs and activate the community. So if any of that sounds good to you, please do reach out. And how do you reach out? There's the general, I encourage you to use the general contact by the CHERI Alliance, but also feel free to send me an email, mvdmaas@lowrisk.org. And then there's also a website, cherialliance.org. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to receive any questions. Yeah.